Hello and welcome to Select 10. There's no shortage of new TV shows right now, but with Netflix, Prime Video, Apple TV, HBO Max, and so many other platforms dropping new series every week, finding the ones actually worth your time can be a challenge. So today, we're cutting through all the noise and looking at 10 of the best new TV series you can watch right now. So, if you're looking for your next binge, these are 10 new series you'll want on your watch list. Number 10. The Westies. The show takes viewers into the violent world of New York's Westies, a notorious Irish-American crime organization that operated out of Hell's Kitchen. The story explores the rise of the gang and the brutal methods that helped it establish control over parts of Manhattan, while also examining the personalities and rivalries inside the organization. Hell's Kitchen wasn't just a backdrop. It was a neighborhood shaped by poverty, organized crime, political influence, and competing criminal factions. That gives the series plenty of room to explore how the Westies built their reputation and why they became so feared. The gangster genre is obviously crowded, so the show has to work harder to distinguish itself, but the combination of real New York history, organized crime, and larger-than-life personalities gives the Westies a strong foundation. If you're into The Sopranos, Gangs of New York, or true crime gangster stories, this is one to keep an eye on. Number 9. Furious follows Alice Black, an FBI agent whose latest case brings her face-to-face with a particularly disturbing serial killer, Catherine, a woman targeting wealthy and influential men. As Alice begins investigating the murders, the case develops into a psychological cat-and-mouse game between two women who understand how the other thinks. Emmy Rossum gives Alice a driven, physically prepared presence, while Lola Pettigrew brings an unpredictable quality to Catherine that keeps the investigation tense. The series isn't simply interested in asking who the killer is. It spends time exploring why Catherine chooses her victims and what Alice is willing to sacrifice to stop her. Some of the twists can feel familiar for anyone who watches a lot of serial killer thrillers, but the central matchup gives the show plenty of momentum. Number 8. House of the Dragon Season 3. For anyone invested in the Targaryen conflict, this remains one of television's biggest fantasy dramas. Number 7. Lucky. Anya Taylor-Joy stars as Lucky, a young woman who has spent years trying to leave her criminal past behind. But when a heist goes wrong, she's pulled straight back into the world she was desperate to escape. Now on the run from the FBI and a ruthless crime boss, Lucky has to use every trick she knows to stay alive while trying to find a way out of the situation she's landed in. The series has a great cat-and-mouse setup, and Taylor-Joy gives Lucky enough attitude and unpredictability to keep you invested. There's a nice balance of crime, action, and dark humor, while the story gradually digs into Lucky's complicated relationship with the life she thought she had left behind. It does occasionally feel like the plot is stretching a familiar crime thriller formula, and some of the twists aren't quite as surprising as they want to be. But it's a fast-moving, easy-to-binge series that gives Anya Taylor-Joy plenty of room to carry the story. Number 6. Silo. Season 3 takes Silo in a much bigger direction. Juliet Nichols returns to Silo 18 after everything that happened in the previous season, but she's dealing with memory loss while the Silo itself is still recovering from rebellion. At the same time, the story jumps back centuries to the before times following journalist Helen Drew and Congressman Daniel Keene as they uncover a conspiracy that ultimately connects to the world Juliet is living in. Instead of keeping everything confined to the underground silo, Season 3 starts peeling back the history behind this entire civilization and gives you a much clearer sense that the mystery is far bigger than Juliet initially imagined. The trade-off is pacing. The new timeline can feel slower than Juliet's story, and the season sometimes feels more like it's laying the groundwork for the final chapter than delivering constant payoffs. If you're already invested in Silo, Season 3 is absolutely worth continuing with. It expands the mythology, raises some fascinating new questions, and brings the series considerably closer to revealing how this entire world came to exist. Number 5. Lanterns. The series takes the Green Lantern mythology in a surprisingly grounded direction. Jon Stewart, a new recruit, is paired with veteran Lantern Hal Jordan, and their first major assignment sends them into rural America to investigate a mysterious case. What initially appears to be a murder investigation gradually points towards something much stranger, involving alien forces and a conspiracy that reaches far beyond the small-town setting. Kyle Chandler brings a weary, experienced edge to Hal Jordan, while Aaron Pierre gives John the intensity of someone stepping into a role much bigger than himself. The biggest surprise is how much the series resembles a detective thriller, with the superhero mythology sitting underneath the mystery instead of constantly dominating it. That won't satisfy everyone looking for non-stop cosmic action, and the grounded approach occasionally feels restrained, but it gives Lanterns its own identity. The show's first episode premiered on August 17th, with more episodes coming weekly. Number 4. The bombing of Pan Am 103. On December 21, 1988, Pan Am Flight 103 exploded over Lockerbie, Scotland, killing all 259 people aboard and 11 people on the ground. This six-part drama follows the aftermath from multiple perspectives, focusing on the investigators trying to understand what happened and the families left behind by one of the most devastating attacks in British history. The series works because it doesn't treat the tragedy simply as a mystery to be solved. It gives attention to the people affected by it, particularly the families who suddenly have to live with questions that don't have easy answers. Connor Swindells, Merritt Wever, Patrick J. Adams, and Eddie Marsan lead a strong cast, while the restrained approach keeps the story grounded. It's understandably a heavy watch, and there are moments when the investigative material moves slowly, but the human side gives the series real weight. Number 3. Reacher. Season 4 puts Jack Reacher in Philadelphia, where a chance encounter with a distressed woman on the subway pulls him into a dangerous mystery. What initially looks like an isolated incident soon points toward a much larger conspiracy involving political power, government secrets, and people willing to do whatever it takes to keep the truth hidden. Alan Ritchson remains one of the biggest reasons the series works. He has the intimidating presence Reacher needs, but also brings enough dry humor to keep the character from becoming one-note. Season 4 doesn't radically change the formula, and that's perfectly fine. You get investigations, brutal fights, clever deductions, and a protagonist who usually enters a dangerous situation knowing he's the most dangerous person in the room. If you're already a fan, this season delivers more of what makes Reacher so easy to binge. So far, there are 3 episodes. Number 2. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds Season 4. Season 4 sends Captain Pike and the crew of the USS Enterprise on another run of unpredictable missions, and this season is clearly willing to experiment. The crew encounters everything from a mysterious abandoned ship and a terrifying horror story to strange alien worlds and time-bending situations, while the ongoing relationships between Pike, Spock, Uhura, Lan, Chapel, and the rest of the crew continue to develop. What really stands out is the variety. One episode can feel like classic Star Trek exploration, while the next turns into a horror story, a noir thriller, or even a completely bizarre comedy. That experimentation is also its weakness. Not every genre switch is going to work equally well for every viewer, and some episodes are likely to feel more memorable than others. If you want a sci-fi series that still feels adventurous rather than overly familiar, Season 4 is giving Star Trek plenty of room to surprise you. Number 1. Lioness. Season 3 puts Joe McNamara back in the middle of a mission where the threat isn't confined to a battlefield. Zoe Saldana returns as the CIA operative, with Nicole Kidman back as Caitlin Meade. And this time, Joe finds herself dealing with hidden networks, foreign operatives, and betrayals that begin reaching into her personal life. After an attack connected to Joe's world, the team starts hunting for the people behind a much larger intelligence operation, forcing Joe to question who she can actually trust. Taylor Sheridan's series continues to work best when it combines high-stakes espionage with the personal cost of the job. The missions can be brutal, but the quieter moments with Joe and her family give the action some emotional weight. But the amount of military and intelligence terminology can still be overwhelming at times, and the story expects you to keep track of a lot of moving pieces. But if you enjoy grounded spy thrillers where missions can go wrong rapidly, Lioness remains one of the more intense options on Paramount+. The 3rd season premiered on August 2nd, 2026, and is currently releasing weekly. That's it for today. Thank you for watching this video. Do subscribe to our channel to see more videos related to movies and series suggestions.